Good morning, everybody. I should be doing makeup at some point today after I drink some coffee. I haven't even taken my meds yet. I woke up covered in brownies and I was like wearing clothes when I went to bed because I thought I was going to take a nap. I fell asleep around 4 p.m. No, it wasn't 4 p.m., it was around 5 p.m. Around 5 p.m., I fell asleep on the couch and I woke up at 4 a.m. You may think, wow, that's a long time to sleep. I did not sleep the night before. I spent all night doing my own true crime. So check out my playlists if you want to see the details of that. I'm very proud of myself for what I have accomplished so far in one night alone, especially. But anyway, I wake up covered in brownies. I take off the dress I was wearing. I was really looking forward to doing makeup in the dress, so I'll wash it and hopefully dry it before I leave the house today. If not, we'll figure out something else to wear. Um, I was talking to my buddies in Discord because one of my buddies tagged the moderator buddy and said, "Hey, uh, when you're at home cooking for yourself, because it's in the food channel on the Discord, when you're at home cooking for yourself, is it okay to break the spaghetti noodles?" And the moderator said, "I'm pretty sure if I answer that question, the Italians will United Healthcare CEO me." And I did the carry act that we've got in the Discord to that message because I'm the Italian in question. And so I explained to a bad idea who doesn't read a lot of the chats, like the history of the chats. He doesn't have the spoons to read. He's a chronic pain sufferer, so I understand completely. So I caught him up to speed, and it was just kind of hodgepodge my identity, heritage wise. Um, where do I start? Okay, so I told him from age 5 to 14, I was raised by a man who both his parents came over from Italy, I believe, during World War II. More about that I'll say here is some of his aunts, uncles, and stuff like that, distant cousins and nieces. I'm wearing my undercap under my shirt. Okay, I took this off in my sleep and I didn't know where it went. Um, what was I just saying? Yeah, some of his aunts and uncles and stuff like that, they came over during World War II, and his uncles would be registered as a woman in a woman's name and like have all this paperwork on them as a woman. And it's not because they identified as a woman, it's because women were more likely to get approved to come into America. And my dad talked about it like it was a huge joke and not something horrific, you know? But then from age 14 onwards, I told my buddy I was raised Cherokee Swi after I moved in with mom and Robin. Robin being Robin Love, my stepdad, who I get the last name Love from. Ronry Love, Erie Love, it's a real last name. And people around here are like, "Am I related to you?" And I'm like, "Not by blood. Are you related to the so and so's?" And they'll be like, "Yes. How did you know?" And I'm like, "Do you remember that weird kid at the reunions about so and so's age?" And they'll be like, "Yeah. Oh my God, you're all grown up." And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And they're like, "You're a woman now?" And I'm like, "It's complicated." Uh, because I was out as trans when I moved. I moved in with mom and Robin, and a week later I came out as trans. Literally that quickly. So by the time everybody got introduced to me, I was already out as trans in the family. Um, but my mom and Robin got married when I was 13, and about a year later, when school was about to start, I moved in with them. And he was Cherokee, Swi, and Baptist. And you're probably thinking, Baptist isn't a heritage. Is it? Is it really not a heritage if it shapes your worldview? You know, it's a cultural heritage. It's not an ethnic heritage. So he was Cherokee Baptist, which is, that might sound weird to somebody in California or in New York or in Texas, but here it's normal. Like, somebody's like, oh yeah, I'm Cherokee. Assume they are Baptist. Literally assume they are Baptist. Um, I learned my lesson with my ex-wife. Um, she told me she was Cherokee Christian. She didn't specify what kind of Christian. I didn't realize I was marrying a Southern Baptist. Um, it's not that I think Baptists are evil or anything. It's not necessarily that I think Baptists are wrong. In fact, I think that baptism is different from Southern baptism. I think Southern baptism with the evangelicalism and fundamentalism, those kinds of Southern Baptists, they're in a cult. Anyway, um, so from 5 till 14, I was raised Italian. Then from 14 till 18, I was raised Cherokee Baptist. Before I turned 5, I was raised Episcopalian in New Jersey. And on my dad's side, I am Irish, German, Pan-European, and a little bit of Russian and Kazakhstani. I used to think I was 50% Russian, and then I actually talked to my uncle recently, and he's like, no, 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 we're like about as equally. We're evenly distributed across the map. We're distributed over is basically what he said. Not in so many words, but you get the idea. We are like 10% this, 10% this, 10% this, 7% this, 8% this, 12% this, so it's roughly the same amount of each category. Um, and most of it is just European. And then you get to Russia and Kazakhstan. And that's it. I still need to do my own blood test, but on my dad's side, Russian, German, Kazakhstani, Irish. And on my mom's side, don't ask me what percentages we have. I have no idea. All I know is we came over on the Mayflower and settled America. I used to have a lot of guilt about that, But eventually I realized it's not my fault what my ancestors did, And also, nobody's asking me to be guilty. I don't know who needs to hear this, but Black people and Indigenous people are not asking for white guilt. They're not asking for white people to cry. They're just asking for us to make a better future. And to learn a thing or two, about what life is like for them, so that we have a sense of reference. And also, like, Black people basically invented everything in your household. It's good to study up on Black inventors in specific. I could wax poetic about Black people for hours, though. But nobody is asking white people to be guilty. So I had to get over that personal white guilt complex when I was in my early 20s. And when I did, I was a better person for it. And I started becoming more self-aware. Um, but yeah, Episcopalian in New Jersey, coming over on the Mayflower. And on top of that, Pan-European with a little bit of Central West Asian. Then from 5 to 14, Italian. I still went to Baptist church, but my dad was Italian. um, Baptism is just really common in the South, so it's hard to find churches that aren't Baptist in the South, in North Carolina and Virginia and all that. Yeah. And then from 14 to 18, Cherokee Swe with a Baptist influence. And when I was 17, I became Muslim after studying it for years. And learned, not studying the Quran proper, but like the culture and what their beliefs are, and this, that, and the other, and what is and isn't a myth. Um, I spent most of high school learning about Islam online through help of the Revert Help Team on Tumblr.com. And then I took Shahada in private with an online witness when I was 17. And I still haven't been to a mosque to this day. I tried calling a mosque one time, but they answered in a language I couldn't identify. So I didn't think they spoke English. So I didn't leave a message. That's the closest I've ever gotten to going to a mosque. But yeah, my heritage is just this hodgepodge of various different identities, and um finding out I was Kazakhstani at all, I found that out through ancestry.com and heritage my heritage DNA, myheritage.com. Yeah. I always forget what it's called. I was making sure I was saying it right. But the genealogy websites where you can track vital records and immigration records and stuff like that. I found an immigration record and a marriage record from, okay, so they, a woman whose name I cannot pronounce moved from Kazakhstan to Moscow and got married to someone in Moscow, whose name I also cannot pronounce. Adrian something. And Adrian is probably a butchering of the first 3 syllables of his name. But anyway, they got married in Moscow, and that's it. That's the only records I have of their existence. And I'm like, okay, am I related to these people? Because the genealogy website thinks so. But I've never heard of a Kazakhstani heritage before. The thing is, my dad was an orphan. My uncle was an orphan. So they wouldn't be the ones to know. My uncle ended up doing his own genealogy report. That's how we found out the percentages in our family. I haven't done my own DNA test yet, but I have it sitting on a shelf over in my living room. All right. I hope that clears up any confusion. I know I've made similar videos before, but there's always new people joining my YouTube, and no matter how many people join, and no matter how many people subscribe, there's always going to be these weirdos who see my channel for the first time through shorts and think, what the fuck is going on? And they don't want to dig too deep into my channel to figure out what's going on. Even when I link to an old video and it's like it's linked in the short, it's like the context is there. You could click the link and then click the description of the video and the link, but you choose not to. You choose to be ignorant. I could never choose to be ignorant of something that I am mocking. I want to learn as much about it so I can mock it better. But anyway, I am going to take my meds. I'm going to make some coffee, and I'm going to get ready for the day. I will see y'all in a couple hours. Love you. Bye.